wait, I gotta get in front of the camera. Hi. Do you want to test your microphone? Hi, Leslie.
Testing.
Hi.
Leslie, we are not able to hear you, but I can see you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. And Salome?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Awesome. Hey, thank you. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I was just going over with the group in the room that are, the reason that we're here today is just to make sure everybody's super aware of the foundations and the scholarships that we have available. And I hope that you will not only take this learning for yourself today, but also share it with your peers, your friends and others who may be interested in attending Public Gorge Community College and applying for scholarships. So we opened our scholarship this year, April 5th, and we're closing it May 20th. And we intend to make our award decisions by July 1. We also wanted to just ensure that everybody has the best information out there about how to be successful in our scholarship process. And I have to call out Doug because last year you brought to my attention some of the shortcomings in our application. And so we assembled a team of internal reviewers to take a look at that application and make it more accessible. So thank you, Doug. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next slide here. This is just the mission of the foundation. We believe our entire community benefits when every student has access to the tools and resources needed to support success in school and in life. And obviously, you're all college students, you know how important financial resources are to your success. So the foundation was established in 1979, and we have a pretty long and pretty successful history of fundraising, largely for scholarships. We also raise funds through grants for programs, and we plan to do more things as well as we carry on in the next number of years. But the primary thing that we do right now is scholarships. So we have about $160,000 set aside for scholarships for next academic year. And that's the funding pool that if you do decide to apply for application, that's the funding that we're going to be applying to receive. This was just a sort of get to know us so that you can place our faces around campus. Myself, Amy, August, and Tom are great resources for any questions you might have about the foundation or other things related to the college in the community. That's my good dog Hank.
Well, if anybody needs to borrow a fur coat, I don't.
Yeah. Okay, so some of the basic information that you need to have. So we have about $160,000 in our fund for this year. Each scholarship amount is $2,500. There is some variation there, so don't hold me to that number. There's just a few scholarship funds that are a little bit more than that or have some sort of add-on to that amount. But that's the general amount that most people receive if they're successful in their applications. Keep in mind that the total amount of the awarded scholarships gets divided equally between fall, winter, and spring terms. And so the amount is about $833 per term. Those funds are used to offset the cost of your tuition fees and books, and they get paid against your balance in the business office. So this year, based on our $160,000 budget, we will be able to award about 65 scholarships for next year. Last year, of the total number of people who applied for scholarships, about 50% of people were successful in applications. And we want you guys to be among them. So important dates, just April 5th to May 20th. We're open for applications. I'm actually going to show you bullet point 3 there is Award Spring. It's the app that we use that manages your application. It's a just quick and easy way for you to register within the system, submit the materials, answer the essay questions, submit your letter of rec, and then it's an easy way for us to communicate with you about the status of your application, anything that you still owe us in order to be considered for funding. So I'm also going to show you a scoring rubric for this for bullet 4, but your applications are read and scored by 3 different people who are on our review committee. Keep in mind that these scholarships are intended to meet demonstrated financial need. So your story, as you write it in the application, really does matter to the readers. So we really want you to try to share your experience and your vision for your education. And then the last thing is that there's a letter of recommendation. So we have kind of a one-click sort of enter the email of the person that you would like to write you a letter of recommendation. And then that form gets sent to the person. And you'll want to get in touch with that person and say, hey, I'm going to be sending you a request for a letter of recommendation. But we try to make it as easy as possible. And on those letters of rec, it's an opportunity for someone who knows you well to give feedback on you, just as an employee, as a neighbor, as a babysitter, as a student, whatever role you play in that person's life, they can give you a recommendation and tell the committee a little bit more about you. Okay, so some of the requirements, you do have to be making satisfactory academic progress. Does everybody know what that is, SAP? Does anybody know what that is? Okay. So I'm gonna just pop it up on screen, and it's in your packets, actually. I think that's correct, right? We need the satisfactory academic progress is in there.
Also, if you go to our website, cbcp.edu/SAP, everything is updated on there. There was some.
So I think, Sarah, you can help me here, but I think probably like really important things about the SAP are that your cumulative GPA has to be a 2.0 or higher. You have to complete 2/3 of your attempted credits each term.
That's the part that changed. So if you go to cbcc.edu/SAP, we have updated that, so it's not per term. We are looking at your overall max time frame.
Okay. Is there any other insight you want to provide about SAP?
Usually if you're participating in a class, C or better is your goal. C is gonna get you, like as far as GPA goes, a D and an F are gonna lower your GPA. So if you're struggling in a class, sometimes it's easier to withdraw, better for your GPA than to get an F or a D. It will affect your overall pace, which is the amount of time it takes for you, amount of time credit-wise it takes for you to complete your degree. And a quick way, if you were ever interested at what your pace is, you take your completed credits and you divide that by your attempted credits, and that'll give you a percentage. And as long as it's 67%, 66.67% or above, you're fine. But that was, those are the federal regulations as far as that goes. So just think, and if all else fails, if you're curious about if you're gonna withdraw from a class, or if you're struggling and you need to check in, you can always check in with financial aid, check in with your academic advisors too. They're very well versed on this stuff and they can give you options and suggestions. Another thing is if you have a total withdrawal or total, I call it zero completion, you may have to pay some of your financial aid back. So keep that in mind. There's lots of options here, lots of services that can help you if you're struggling. And don't be a stranger. I know I'm sometimes really hard to find, but I do have Blanca and Nicole who run the front desk. They're really great at helping. So, and I've been training them on more and more financial aid things. So if you can't get a hold of me, it's not the end of the world. Takes a village. So we're all here to help.
Do people have questions about satisfactory academic progress or anything that has come before? Right now?
Just
So-
to add on to
oh, yeah.
that, you can withdraw up to 80% of the course completion, so 60%. Yeah. So yeah, so there will be you'll be notified via student services when the withdraw deadline is coming. So make sure to hit that withdraw if you think you're gonna fail one of your courses, because once again, as Sarah said, it's much better to get a W than an F.
Yeah.
So,
It's better for your it's harder to raise a GPA.
yeah.
What is the impact, because I don't know this, I'm fairly new to higher ed, on tuition if you withdraw, you get your tuition back?
No, the only time you get your tuition refunded is during the first thing. So you can add and drop courses the first week of the term without having to have any payment responsibility.
Okay.
But after that first week, you owe the bill whether you complete the class or not. So that's something good to keep in mind.
Okay, so
Um,
yeah, so keep that in mind if you're thinking about the withdrawal situation, you want to just bear in mind that unless you get it done within the first.
First week, first week.
You are still on the hook for tuition, so, yeah.
Yeah, which is another reason why this person's come this week is because we have to wait for enrollment to lock. And then once it locks, then we can start awarding. So some of you may have already, if you were scholarship recipients, you would have already seen some of those trickle in. Well, I have to wait until the enrollment locks that Friday and you know, give them some wiggle room for any administrative drops so that that's when we'll start applying your scholarships. So yeah, I usually get to scholarships. I usually can start working on those like the Tuesday, Wednesday of the second week. And then your Pell Grants and your other financial aid, I'm continuously working on them. I'm still working on stuff. So state grants are coming. That's next on my list. And then loans and Pell Grants should start populating hopefully today and tomorrow for sure.
We've seen a couple emails about them being dispersed already.
Yeah, so those emails are notification that they are coming into our system. So once you receive, if you receive an email, I'm assuming it was on the 11th or the 12th.
So, yeah, it was,
So that is a notification. So as you know, anybody who's doing financial aid, we also have Global that we work with. So Global is who, basically they help us, as far as getting the FAFSA money, Pell Grants, direct loans. So what they do is they'll request the money from the feds. They'll send us a receipt saying, hey, it's populating. Then I have to wait 3 days for it to post to your ledger. So once you get those notification emails, add 3 business days, that's when it should populate on your ledger, on your account. Provided there's no issue, which I will work through.
one on the 11th and one on the 12th.
So I'm trying to get the loans to come through today. They're supposed to come through today. I've got to help tick it out. And I can already see the Pell batch, so the Pell is gonna come through tomorrow.
And this is for this last year, right? 2021.
Yeah, this is for spring, the current term you're in. Yeah, so basically disbursement times, first week, you're adding and dropping, getting situated. Second week, when you're gonna start seeing scholarships populate on your accounts, and then the third week is when Title IV money, which is Pell Grants and loans, that's when that's supposed to come in. So as far as timelines and budgeting goes, that's kind of your timeline. And I'm trickling through. I have to go through and approve each one individually, so it takes some time. So unless they have developed technology to clone me, it's gonna be a little bit slow,
We're
but
almost there.
I know. So, but we're getting there. So things, and you know, throughout the year, things get smoother. So yeah, I've got all the scholarships on the accounts now. I'm just, right now, I'm next up is state grants, so Oregon Opportunity Grant, Oregon Promise Grant.
Well, thank you, Sarah. Awesome.
I have a question.
A crazy time.
Yeah. I heard somebody say question.
Leslie online.
Leslie, hi Leslie,
Hi.
thank you.
Yes, so I have a plan, that is scheduled for me working and doing 1 class at a time. My classes are 5 credits, so there would have to be I'd have to be doing at least 6 credits. If I did add credits, it would change my plan right now because I don't need extra credits. Is there any way to do that? I mean, you had anybody that says, you know, I really have the science class, I cannot work, you know, I want to take another class, but the income from working, if I don't work, then I need the scholarship. So how do I get that extra credit? I'm brainstorming. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really good point. Oh, Sarah, please, jump in.
I would talk to your academic advisor, because maybe you need a PE credit for your
Right.
degree. And those are 1 credit classes, you know, sometimes there are some 1 credit classes out there that can help bump you up to 6 credits. Now, it does have to be within your program, because one of the things that's come up is that if you take a bunch of classes that are not required for your degree, that'll come back to bite you in the end when we come to the end of your degree, because I can only, Global only allows me to award up to that credit limit. So if you're in a 90 credit degree, if you go past that 90 credits, they cut you off. So keep that in mind. So maybe if there's, I would just take a look at your overall plan and if it's possible to find like a one credit class, like sometimes I know, ECE possibly.
Also think about
Yeah,
it,
yoga.
if you hit that 6 credit limit, not only are you eligible for the foundation scholarship, but you're also eligible for financial aid at that point. So financial aid is a minimum of 6 credits.
For loans.
For loans.
You can go under and get Pell Grant if you're eligible. It just depends on what you're eligible for.
Well, this setup is just for doing my prereqs because nursing school is gonna have more than that many credits, but the prereqs, I just wanted to keep, there's series of classes that you have to take one at a time, and usually they're 5 credits, but I was kind of feeling pushed too hard to try to do those 2 at a time. And so I decided to change my degree and extend it a year longer so that I didn't have to do 2 at a time, because I was paying out of pocket. And so working is practically like necessary right now. So, you know, when I get to nursing school, I won't be able to work at all. So I want to make sure I know how to do these scholarships so that I can get it during the year I'm in nursing. You know, if I make it in nursing school, I absolutely need these scholarships. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense for sure. So-
Okay.
So I would say
Maybe-
definitely though, circle back with your academic advisor. And then it sounds like you have a pretty good vision for what you're doing, but just there is that resource available to you through your academic advisor.
Yeah. I just want to be prepared because paying out of pocket, you know, doing a little bit of classwork, you're not experiencing applying for scholarships. It's kind of, it can get you can like forget that they're going on. You can forget that they're out there, and I want to make sure I don't.
I have a suggestion
Yeah.
for you, Leslie, that as you look for that one credit, you can find one that is not very academically challenging, because I know I've taken 1 credit courses before, and some take a lot of time. They're quite heavy for 1 credit, and others are just what you need. Like, so while you're taking that 1 credit, if you do not want to have like a heavy mental load, you can talk to other students as well. For example, this quarter I'm taking a 1 credit course called Gentle Yoga, and it just requires me to be physically available at 6 p.m. twice a week. And I find that relaxes me, and I'm also not handing in any assignments except the first and the last assignment, and that makes it easy. So if you get some things that can take off some edge from the studying, that can help you, and you can also get to the 6 credit requirement. So that's just one, but I'm sure other students are aware of others that may also be like that.
I shouldn't have problems with that, but I'm getting close to the point where I've earned all the credits that I need besides the nursing and biology and things but I've never had a PE class, not one. And so I shouldn't be penalized for having that, especially with nursing being such a physical thing.
Yeah.
Hey, Leslie and Salome, I'm gonna shift over to our next topic just so we don't run out of time, but thank you for jumping in. I appreciate that. Okay. So just remember your academic advisor is probably your best resource for like helping you map out your credits. And if you need to get to 6, you'll have options for that. So, okay, getting back to our requirements for the scholarship. So satisfactory academic progress. If you are awarded a scholarship, Amy will communicate with you and she will ask you to essentially sign an agreement that says, yes, you're accepting the funding on the terms as described, which are that it gets applied to your tuition, fees, and books. And it gets paid out in 3 equal increments over an academic year. And then we also ask you to send a letter of acknowledgement to the donor. which basically is just you send a letter to us and then we share it with the donor who funded the scholarship. And then the last one, again, is just a credit requirement. Okay. So I wanted to give you a little bit more information about about what it looks like when you want to make an application. So this is the AwardSpring app. Has anybody created like a username or an identity yet in AwardSpring? Okay. So on the foundation website, which the foundation website is super easily found on the back of this. Our homepage is a one-click link to AwardSpring where you can pop in there and create your user identity. Come on in. So this is what you're gonna see when you get into AwardSpring. So we're gonna be asking you about where you went to high school, if you're a graduating senior, which program you plan to enroll in, what degree you're planning to pursue. We're gonna ask you about financial information. And this is super important. So because of the sort of landscape of financial aid being so negatively impacted by delays in the FAFSA system, so free application for federal student aid is FAFSA. We normally in past years, we require that students who are applying either put in a FAFSA or an ORSA. So the ORSA is for students who are undocumented, the FAFSA is for students who are not undocumented and thus can get federal dollars. And this year, we are instead using an estimator tool. So this is the field where it says, please report your estimated student aid index here. So the FAFSA has a very quick, like 5-question survey. You just fill in the data about you, your family, your income, a couple other quick questions, and then it generates what they call a student aid index. Amy and I just did it while we were prepping today. It took us 1.5 minutes. Yeah. And you end up with a report that tells you what your student aid index is. I put it in for a family of 4, earning $40,000 annually. What else did I put in? Anything, anything? Do you remember what else they asked?
We should also show us.
Yeah.
It can only take-
I think I have it in one.
Show the box of the number that we want to do.
Yeah.
So it's student aid.
Okay, so here is the estimator. And what you do is you go over here to start estimate. So I'm gonna put in my birth date. So let's say it's January 1. I was born in 1990. Okay, my marital status is married. My residence is, let's say, Washington. Choose that. And let's say I'm gonna be a second-year student. And then I can continue. So how many people in your family? Let's say 4. And did I file taxes? Yes. My financials, so let's say my household income is 40,000. And let's say my student household assets, I'm a student, I don't have very many, $500, let's say. And I did not receive any child support. Okay, so
Is that household assets per month, per year?
I think that was annual total. Yeah, yeah. I think that would probably, it includes like real estate and like investments, you know, like stocks, that kind of thing.
Don't put your home value down, because it's real estate that you make profit off of. So if you have a
Oh,
second home,
okay.
that's what you want to add on there.
Okay.
Don't put your car, because
Yeah.
assets in the FAFSA world are a little different than FAFSA or than assets in like the banking world. So don't list your car, don't list your home unless you're like
Renting it.
renting it out. Yeah, unless it's like a second home or something like that. That's often a mistake that I've seen before. So don't do that because it's not gonna help you. But that one.
So, okay, so that's how fast it is. So for the purpose of the foundation scholarship, you're not held to the FAFSA, ORSA, or WASPA requirement. And by putting that data in, you get these numbers that pop up for you. This is your estimated federal student aid, your Pell Grant eligibility, your maximum available direct loans, and your average work rate. That's all fine information for you, but don't use it in our application. This is the only number that matters for our application right here. Your estimated student aid index. So based on the data that I put in, how do you interpret a negative SAI score?
Negative is like 0.
Yeah, and they get the great thing about the SAI compared to so originally we had the EFC, estimated family contribution, and so that's gone away now. We have the SAI, which is the student aid index. And that actually allowed them to go to negative numbers, unlike the EFC did. Basically though, the way the formulas work now, for one, there's less questions. So it's around like 35, 36 questions now on the FAFSA compared to nearly 100 before. So they thankfully have cut it down for this next academic year. So less questions for all of us. That's great. And because of the way they've changed the formula, students are actually able to receive more grant money as well. So we're still rolling it out. We haven't received any info yet for the 24-25 year. Normally by this time of the year, we would have received that in financial aid, but it's being delayed because of all these changes, but there's still plenty of time to do your FAFSA or ORSA for the fall term this year. And, you know, the foundation scholarship, that piles on top of Pell Grants and other stuff you can get via financial aid. So it's always, you know, we always encourage students to try to do both if you can in order to get the most money to pay for your schooling. Double dip. What Sarah said.
Yeah. Mary doesn't like that word, but I was like,
What's that
people
word?
understand
I
that.
don't hear it.
Double dip.
Double dip.
Triple dip, quadruple dip, get as much as you can.
Yeah. Here it is.
Basically from what I've seen so far with all of the lovely things that I've seen. A negative, SAI to 0 SAI is gonna get full, Pell Grant eligibility. So that means that, the estimated financial aid, if you're a full-time student, is what, $73.95, did it say? Divide that by 3, that's what you would get per term if you go full-time. Everything else is prorated. So, so yeah, negative 15 to 0 is gonna be the same amount of Pell Grant as if you were to have a 0 EFC this year. So it's gonna get you the maximum Pell Grant eligibility, and loans too. You'll have maximum eligibility if it's 0 or below. And then everything above that, apparently there's math. They're gonna make you do math now. But that's okay. I'm ready. I just need the information. But we'll get through it. But yeah, if you have a negative, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. That means that you're gonna get more free money. And if you have a high student aid index, if it's really high, like mine was like 3-something thousand, because I don't have any kids or anything like that. I have a partner, that's enough. But that is gonna get you, you might not be eligible for a Pell Grant. But that doesn't mean you still can't get loans if you need them. So if you have a high student aid index, SAI, it's not the end of the world. That just means go for those scholarships. And we'll try to get you some money, like free money with scholarships. And then there's always loans too.
Yeah, and oftentimes students don't realize what they're eligible for as far as those grants, the Pell Grants that you don't have to pay back. I can take about 5 years ago, I talked to a student and he was like, I'm not gonna do the FAFSA. I make $15 an hour. I'm way out of the price bracket for that. And I told him, you'd be surprised. And he filled it out. Guess what? There was a ton of Pell money there for him. So, you know, fill that thing out. You know, the worst case scenario is it'll say, okay, you're not gonna get Pell Grants, but you have loans accepted, and you can say no to loans, and then it's over. You know, so that's worst case scenario. Best case scenario, you got a bunch of grant money there for you to go to school. So it just takes a little bit of time, especially with them knocking it down to 36 questions this next year. So that makes it a lot easier to do as well.
And then if you're not eligible for FAFSA, if you're undocumented, ORSA, same kind of thing.
ORSA's gonna get you access to state grants.
Right. So that's the Oregon Student Aid Administration or something.
Office of Student Access and Completion, which doesn't fit at all what their website says, but that's what it is. OSAC was there.
OSAC, yeah.
OregonStudentAid.gov.
Yeah. So, okay. Okay, so the components are that first part that I showed you, just reporting your basic demographic information, doing the estimator, getting that student aid index number, recording that in your application. And then you write answers to some essay questions. So those essay questions are your opportunity to kind of like connect with the reader and let them know what your vision is and kind of who you are. we say 75 to 300 words. I kind of think about a sentence, I'm sorry, yeah, 75 to 300 words per essay question. And I think like a sentence is about like 10-ish words. So if I'm gonna write 7 sentences, like that's not gonna take me that long. And we just don't want you to go over 30. And then the last component of the application is your letter of rec. So essay question 1, is that CDCC Foundation scholarships are based on financial need. We want you to explain circumstances or challenges you're facing that may make continuing your education difficult without financial assistance. So, an example of that is dependent care that varies from person to person. So if you want to share, I think what we're trying to do there is open it up to let you just sort of explain your life circumstances. It doesn't have to be too prescriptive. It's just whatever it is that you're facing. It's an opportunity for you to share that. Essay question 2 is just asking you to describe your education and career goals that you have established for yourself, and then kind of let us know what action you've taken to accomplish those goals. And then best way to show us that is give us an example. Yeah, go ahead.
Should these be just 1 page each, or can we put them all together into one?
The application just slots you into like 4
Okay,
different
thanks.
fields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought it was.
Sentences.
I
Nothing
think
crazy.
one thing, and Doug, let me just answer this and then maybe you can jump in. To keep in mind is if you read through the essay questions, you might want to go into like a separate Word document and write up your answers if you want to do detailed editing and that kind of thing, because I think within a word spring, you can't like save your work and come back. Like it's either, is that right? I think that's right.
Caution on the safe side.
Caution on the safe side. Yeah.
Yeah, you can write your answers in a Word document and copy and paste them over to a Word string. And yeah, that's the easiest way. Then you can have your spelling check for grammar,
Check.
punctuation, everything like that.
Have your friend read it for you, see if it
Yep.
sounds
A
good.
great opportunity for you to work with a classmate and have yourselves proofread each other's, you know,
Totally.
so.
If you feel like sharing.
If you feel so, yeah.
Right.
I'll follow you. Yeah, library too.
Okay, so do you want to ask a question?
No.
Okay, all right. Doug.
So you're actually gonna find, at least I found, applying for all these different applications all over the place, through PTK, other online sources and things like that. All the applications have pretty similar questions, so I watched another webinar and it suggested that I get a flash drive and basically make myself a resume on that flash drive of all these little essays that I write for all these different things. So then it's like this year, if I was to go back and just start mass blanketing for applications, because the more I apply for, the more chances I have of getting one, because I get denied for a lot of them. You know, but the more that I apply for, the better my chances are. So if I have it all in a flash drive, it's a lot quicker. It's copy paste, inserting in all these little boxes. It saves me time. I can get more applications out that way, along with attending classes. And it takes a lot of the stress off my plate as far as thinking every time of writing each individual answer and question. So that's a beneficial tool.
Thank you. Great idea. Okay, then essay question 3. I'm just kind of giving you guys a preview so you can think about it and not feel intimidated about this application. So essay question 3 is just write about a personal accomplishment that makes you feel proud. It doesn't have to be prescriptive. It's what you feel proud of. It could be something like some piece of leadership you took on or a service you provided for your community, something you did with your family, and then just how it has impacted your life. And again, 75 to 300 words. We're talking 7 sentences minimum. So pretty accessible. And then the last one is really just kind of an invitation to share what you like to do if you do have time outside of all of your normal responsibilities. Just again, an opportunity for our readers to hear from you and know you a little bit better. Let's see, there was one other thing I wanted to go through, which is this. Okay, actually, let's pause. Do you have questions about the essays or anything related to that? Okay, so the rubric that your application will be scored using is, or I guess it's really about your essays, is here.
And everybody has one?
Everybody has one. Yep. And so, essay one, which is about your financial need, you can see this is the direction that we are going to give the committee that's going to read your applications, and it's a draft. I don't know if you can see that. There should be like a watermark across that scoring rubric that just says it's draft, because these are the proposed standards that we're going to use when we're scoring those essays. But they haven't yet been adopted, but it just gives you an idea of what we're looking for. And I'll just read through the first one. So below the standard or 0 points would be that you really didn't answer the question. It's too brief to meet the standard. You didn't do the 75 words. A fair representation or awarding 1 to 3 points is that you've identified the challenge or circumstance, but it's not very well developed. It's pretty vague. A good score, so 4 to 7 points would be your circumstance or challenge is clearly identified. And then great would be you've clearly identified it. Oh, thank you. And you've listed how your education would be difficult without that assistance, and you shared some examples. So that just kind of prompts you, like, if you're thinking about your essay, you're struggling with it, refer to this sheet, and then that'll tell you like, okay, what do I need to add in order to get the best score I can possibly get on this essay?
So is that rubric going to be, are you guys going to be updating it before May 20th, before
Yes.
the thing gets?
Well,
released? And how much do you think it's going to vary?
It's not gonna vary significantly. This is the basic rundown. It's just maybe some of the language would get adjusted a little bit, but this gives you a general idea.
And the deadline to apply is May
May
20th?
20th is the deadline.
So
to
now.
apply. Yeah,
We'll put off at midnight. on May 20th.
at the end of May 20th, as it's about to be May 21st, right? Yeah.
And how many scholarships altogether was it again? I know the dollar amount, but how many were
I
there?
think it's 65
That's what I was
in the amount of $2,500. And if more funding arrives and we're able to provide more, we will.
Yeah. So I was just thinking about that number, looking around this room, imagine if every one of you applied and no one else did, probably every one of you would be getting a scholarship. So that's an incentive right there to make sure you finish that application. 100%.
Yes, absolutely. Jim.
Follow on that. So, the electromechanical technology, of which I only see one handsome individual here. They actually compete for their own, separate, pot of money. Okay, so,
Yeah, so there's like $10,000, I think, in there in our scholarship fund that is only for MTech
There's
students.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do actually.
Okay.
so is anybody else here beside an electromechanical technology or considering electromechanical technology? Okay, so Chris, you, on now. So, to go, if you're the only person who applies and the one that gets it, the Renewable Energy Scholarship Foundation, resf.org, was started, I think, in 2017. First year, no one across the country applied for it, no one.
I think that's outside the foundation.
That's
right?
outside the foundation,
Okay,
yeah.
so that, I can't help you with that, but Jim
Yeah.
probably can.
And
And
then,
so if you applied, you would have gotten it. And so I'm encouraging you guys to get on those.
Okay.
And then-
There's money.
is that scholarships I can find via the website?
That's the one you already applied for, that's that.
Oh, okay, so I'll need to reapply again. Next
But
year.
yeah, so in the early part of the application, it asks you a lot of questions about what field you're pursuing. And that's how you slot yourself in for those those sort of, specific scholarships. So there's like, if you're in nursing, there are certain pots of money that are only for nursing. If you're in MTech or advanced manufacturing, certain pots of money that are only for those fields.
Any other questions?
So I remember last year I applied on my cell phone, which made
Yes.
it kind of really super difficult. Now I know that there's laptops and we check out of the library, over there outside of the library next to Marco, Emmy. Specializes in helping fill out the applications and things like that and looking for other resources. Basically, there's computers available if you don't have one. It makes it a lot easier though. Cell phones are-
Yeah, really good point. And it, we try to simplify the application. You can use your phone, but it's gonna be a lot easier if you. Yeah.
Do you know what Metallica has done? That was their third year, right?
No, there's no like scholarship dollars anymore. It's just the materials. Yeah, and that was the safety equipment. And actually, I don't think we have that for next year either. It's this year, the last year. Yeah.
So first years, next years, are you gonna be able to apply for the Metallica grant?
That's right.
You guys applied to.
Let me look into that, but I'm pretty sure, so Metallica starts high and then they trickle, they sort of like decrease over time.
Right.
And I'm pretty certain that we're done after this year. That's just the way they do that. But we will apply for Roundhouse Scholarship funding, which also covers the same kinds of things Metallica covers.
For first year students, I don't think it's for second years,
Um,
for like advanced manufacturing and stuff like that. The Metallica is only first year. For that kind of.
that's the way our college administered it. Yeah, but that was because I think the second years had already gotten it previous years. Yeah. So with Roundhouse funding, it won't be specific to that sort of weird class situation.
And those are open, that's open.
It's not open right now. I, through the foundation, have to go get funding through Roundhouse, and then we will put that opportunity out to students next year. So let's see. Our contact information, important to have, is down here. I'm mostly directing you to me and to Amy, because we're kind of the most closely connected to the foundation scholarship process. So reach out to us, tell your classmates and your friends and your peers about the foundation scholarship opportunity. And let us know if there are ways that we can make it easier for you, or if there are routes that you think are the right communication channels to reach you and your peers. Next year when we're doing this event, we hope that we need a much larger space.
Oh, yeah, do you guys do social media? Follow us on Instagram. Or Facebook or TikTok.
Yeah.
For more
Who's following our Facebook and our Instagram for the college right now?
Come on, you're gonna be talking to me.
There's so much good information on our.
And LinkedIn.
I might be on LinkedIn.
All of us on LinkedIn, we rock on LinkedIn too. But Instagram has so much great student information. August is constantly putting awesome stuff up
I
there.
just started. Getting used to it. Mom, we can make it so cool.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you guys not use Instagram?
I just use Facebook. I used to use Instagram.
I'm gonna do it.
but I don't.
You use Facebook, but not Instagram?
I think it's your maturity
Facebook, Instagram? I think follow us on Instagram, the college.
TikTok.
And what's our exact CGCC Instagram handle? Do you know it?
Columbia Gorge CC.
Columbia Gorge CC.
I'll go bother you all about it.
Well, because you're gonna get a lot of good scholarship information there, financial aid information, deadlines, fun events on campus, registration, ad drop deadlines. I mean, all that stuff. It's a really good place for that information.
Do you know, are they gonna offer any scholarships through sports since they're trying to get that?
For athletic scholarships? That's a really good question.
Wait, is there sports coming up in?
Cross
We're
country.
starting with cross country
We
this
start
fall.
fall,
So-
fall 25, we'll have a
That
cross country team.
Yeah. it's
Pretty cool.
Any runners in the room?
I need.
Me. Any runners that would be interested in running on a cross country team?
I thought about it too, actually.
Awesome, absolutely. So, yes, let me find out so our Director of Student Services, Mike Espinosa, is running that program. I think there is the will is there to have some student scholarships for athletes. I know that in the spring of 2025, we are going to put on a community fun run through Spring Fest, or no, what's it called? Cherry Festival, which is an old fun run that actually went away, I guess, during the pandemic. And we're gonna raise money for student scholarships for student athletes. So, but that will be spring of 25, so that'll be the next year. But come, do you want to give me your emails, the people who raised their hands about running, because I can route your names to Mike Espinosa, and he will just have a list of students who are interested.
Okay.
Cool. So exciting. I love that. I'm glad you heard about the cross-country plans. How did you hear about it? Facebook. Okay. That's a data point.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. It's great to have you all here. Wait,